I hate to be the one telling you this, but if you're one of the 40 million Americans who depend on SNAP benefits, you need to hear this right now. The Trump administration just announced they will not be using contingency funds to pay November food stamp benefits. That means starting November 1st, millions of families could go without food assistance for weeks, possibly longer. I know that's terrifying. I know you're probably panicking right now, but stay with me. Because I've read through all the reports, the USDA statements, and the Congressional documents, so you don't have to. I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening, what it means for your family, and what you need to do this week to prepare. Hey everyone, it's Tony from Retirees Benefits. Make sure you're subscribed because this situation is changing by the hour, and you need to know when updates happen. So here's the situation. The federal government shutdown started on October 1st, and we're now approaching the November 1st deadline when SNAP benefits are supposed to go out. The USDA just confirmed what we've been worried about for weeks. They will not tap into contingency funds to cover November benefits. Let me read you what they actually said, because this is important. Contingency funds are not legally available to cover regular benefits. SNAP contingency funds are only available to supplement regular monthly benefits when amounts have been appropriated for, but are insufficient to cover benefits. The contingency fund is not available to support fiscal year 2026 regular benefits because the appropriation for regular benefits no longer exists. Translation? The money is just gone. The SNAP contingency fund has about $5 billion in it, but they need $9 billion to fund November benefits. And here's the kicker. Even if they wanted to use that $5 billion, they're not going to. They're worried about future emergencies and other food aid programs. Now, you might be wondering why Congress isn't just fixing this. Well, here's where things get messy. The Senate is completely deadlocked. Republicans are telling Democrats to end the shutdown and then they'll negotiate. Democrats are saying they won't budge until Republicans agree to extend Obamacare subsidies. And you know who's caught in the middle? You. Me. The 40 million Americans who are just trying to feed their families. Republicans are reportedly planning to push this all the way to November 1st to see who breaks first. It's political chicken, and unfortunately, real families are going to starve while they play this game. Let's talk about the real impact here. Over 40 million Americans rely on SNAP benefits. That's working parents, veterans, seniors, people with disabilities, and families who are doing everything right but still need help putting food on the table. Look at these numbers. In New Mexico, 28% of households receive SNAP, with an average benefit of $354 per month. Alabama families get $384. Missouri gets $391. Texas households receive $410 on average. Now imagine if those benefits just disappeared. Or worse, imagine if instead of your normal $350, you only got $35. Because that's what we're hearing could happen if they do decide to use a small portion of those contingency funds. You might only get 5 to 10% of your normal benefit amount. If you're a single mom trying to feed 3 kids, that's devastating. If you're a senior on a fixed income, that's catastrophic. If you're working 2 jobs and still barely making it, this could be the thing that breaks you. Here's what makes this even more frustrating. According to reports, in order to make partial payments work, the Trump administration would have needed to start preparing weeks ago. They didn't. Even if they decided today to tap into those contingency funds, it would take weeks to distribute the money on a pro rata basis. Which means most low-income Americans would miss November benefits anyway. The system could have used a portion of that $5 billion, maybe a quarter of it, so around $1.25 billion, to at least give people something. But senior officials have told reporters they're not going to do it because they want to save that money for future emergencies. But here's my question. If millions of Americans going hungry isn't an emergency, what is? Okay, so there is one potential ray of hope here. Representative Marionette Miller Meeks from Ohio introduced a bill on Friday called the Keep SNAP Funded Act of 2025. This bill would keep food assistance funded during the government shutdown until the Department of Agriculture gets funded through regular appropriations or stopgap measures. Now, the House bill isn't the big news. The House has been passing bills. The real action is in the Senate. where Senator Josh Hawley is leading a companion SNAP funding bill that Republicans are reportedly considering for a floor vote. But here's the problem. Even if this bill passes, everyone is saying it's still going to take potentially 2 weeks to get it done. 2 weeks. That means even in the best-case scenario, families could be without benefits for half of November. There's one more thing you should know. Administration officials are expecting Democratic governors and anti-hunger groups to sue over the decision not to tap the contingency fund. Some legal experts are arguing that the federal government is actually legally required to use those other funds to pay for SNAP. Congressional Democrats and anti-hunger organizations have been urging the Trump administration to keep benefits flowing. But so far, the White House is blaming Democrats for the funding lapse, saying they've repeatedly voted against the House-passed stopgap funding bill. The lawsuits could help, but lawsuits take time, and time is something hungry families don't have. Let's be real about what's happening here. The loss of this critical safety net program is ramping up pressure on Congress to end the shutdown. That's actually what this is about. It's political leverage. SNAP recipients are already being told to buy shelf-stable food or go to food banks as the funding deadline looms. I've been warning about this for a month now. First, we heard benefits could be delayed. Then we learned 3 weeks ago that October might be the last payment going out. Now we know for sure November benefits are not coming on November 1st unless something dramatic changes in the next few days. All right, action time. If you're receiving SNAP benefits, here's what you need to do this week. Number 1, if you got October benefits, use them strategically right now. Buy shelf-stable foods that will last. Rice, beans, pasta, canned vegetables, peanut butter, canned tuna or chicken. Don't buy anything perishable unless you're eating it this week. Number 2, contact your local food bank today. Don't wait until November 1st when everyone else is panicking. Find out their hours, what documentation you need, and when they're open. Get that information now. Number 3, if you have any family or friends who can help, have that conversation now. I know it's hard to ask for help, but it's harder to go hungry. Number 4, call your senator. I know I said the House isn't the issue, but your senators need to hear from you. Tell them you can't wait 2 weeks for them to pass a bill. Tell them your family needs food. Number 5, check if your state has emergency food assistance programs outside of SNAP. Some states have their own backup programs. Google your state emergency food assistance and see what comes up. Number 6, if you have WIC benefits, those are on a different funding stream, so make sure you're using those too. Same with school lunch programs for your kids. Look, I want to be real with you about something. There are reports that even if they do eventually tap into emergency funds to pay SNAP benefits, we could see additional reductions down the line. That means even when this shutdown ends, we might be looking at cuts to future benefits. I'm not saying this to scare you more. I'm saying it because you need to understand that this isn't just about November. This could affect December, January, and beyond. You need to be prepared for a long-term change in how you budget for food. The fact that these two parties are going at each other while millions of people are about to go hungry is absolutely unacceptable. But that's the reality we're dealing with. I know this is a lot of bad news. I know you're scared and angry and frustrated. You have every right to be. This shouldn't be happening in the richest country in the world. But here's what I want you to remember. You are not alone. There are 40 million Americans in this with you. There are food banks, mutual aid groups, churches, and community organizations ready to help. And there are people like me who are going to keep shouting about this until something changes. I'm going to be monitoring this situation constantly. As soon as Senator Hawley's bill gets a vote, as soon as any lawsuits are filed, as soon as any news breaks, I will post an update immediately. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Share this video with everyone you know who depends on SNAP. The more people who are informed and prepared, the better chance we have of getting through this. And if you need more resources, check the description below. I've got links to food bank locators, emergency assistance programs, and everything else I could find that might help. We're going to get through this. It's not going to be easy, but we will survive this. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next update. Stay strong.